Hello and welcome to the 10 Million in 10 Years podcast. I'm David, your host, and I've got Alli Kennedy with me today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. We've got a prop next to you there.
Yes, it is Sharenanigans. It's my brand new board game, all based on how to invest in shares. So we've taken the key concepts, how to invest, and made it a fun, interactive game for families and friends to play.
Love it. Amazing. How on earth do you wake up and decide to make a board game?
Didn't start as a board game, that's for sure. Was involved in the entrepreneurship space at the University of Canterbury, surrounded in tech products, SaaS companies, and thought that's the future, that's the route to take. And so started first, pitched the problem of there's a lack of knowledge around investing, and thought immediately I'll create an app that young kids, teenagers can go on, and it's like a Duolingo but for the share market, basic building blocks of how to invest. But big disclaimer of this started because I knew nothing about investing. So immediately I was like, how do I get the content for this app? How do I build this app? How do I get the money for this app? And straight away just kind of, it was like, yeah, it's a cool idea, but I already had that self-doubt of how am I going to have the skills and the resources to actually make it. That's when I just started sketching out what it might look like. And during that time, I should say, is started talking to parents, teachers, and they were saying, good luck getting my kid off TikTok and onto an app about investing. Or they were saying, I want to learn as well. Why is it just for kids? Like, I want to learn with my kids about investing. And I realized also that there's a huge amount of accessible information about anything these days. You go on YouTube, Google, even TikTok, so many videos about the subject. But the problem is that people, one, didn't know to learn, or two, didn't know, or people just weren't familiar enough with the subject to feel that it was for them and so that they should go learn about it. And I decided that I wanted to start gamifying it, making it fun, making it seem less complicated. People had all these perceived barriers about investing. So, yeah, wanted to come up with a way to break down those barriers, to make it fun, and started sketching out what a gamified app might look like, still in the app space. And that's when one of my mentors at the time said, looks like you're doing a board game. And immediately there was a light bulb moment of, why does this have to be tech? I have no tech background, but what I can do is go to the shop, bought a Monopoly board, and stuck paper over top of it, blue tack, and just started drawing on it. Within a day we could do game trials with people of a concept that is nowhere near what it is today, but it was a concept of a game. Something didn't work, took off the paper, restuck down something else, and we just kept going like that. And so all of a sudden it was something that I could work on. I had creative control, I had timeline control. Yeah, sorry, long-winded answer, but it was a long process to get to a board game.
Yeah, and how many have you got currently made? Is it at the stage where PledgeMe, right?
Yes,
yeah.
PledgeMe, yep.
Yeah, and so the PledgeMe campaign is designed to fund the first round of production, is that right?
Yes,
yeah.
So that's correct. So as of a couple of days ago, we're now 3 days into it, launched a PledgeMe campaign, and that's essentially to give us enough funds to do our big first bulk order of manufacturing, to reach our manufacturer's MOQ, minimum order quantity, and then also give us enough runway while we're waiting on the board games to arrive, which is hopefully early October, late September, to be able to do marketing, to get it across the country, distributed, that sort of thing. So at the moment, you're looking at our one and only finished final sample.
Oh, wow.
So I cherish this. I take it everywhere with me.
Yeah.
It doesn't even stay in the car, like when I get home, because
right.
I'm like, what if my car gets stolen? I don't want them to take Sharenanigans.
No.
It's probably, we had to pay for 3-day express shipping from China to New Zealand.
Right.
The most expensive board game I will ever own is this one. Free.
Yeah, right.
They say free sample, but we had an expo and I had 3 days to get the game to the expo, and I was like, I will pay anything. So I think it was like $600 and something.
Yeah, right.
But I was so desperate.
Wow.
And we got it. But we do have a good probably 3 different prototypes of the game. So technically there's still versions of Sharenanigans. But it's come a long way.
Yeah, right. Wow. And so how many is the initial run, the MOQ?
1,750.
Right.
So it's the exact perfect amount where it fits a 20-foot container.
Ah, gotcha.
So right to the brim.
Oh, wow. So it's a 20-foot container of them.
It's a lot of board games.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Yeah. I feel like in my head at least, when I heard 1,750, I was like, oh, that's not that many.
Yeah.
And then I think about the space that it's going to take up.
Yeah.
Have we worked out where we're going to put them? Absolutely not. But that is a future problem.
Yes. Yeah, that is indeed. Yeah. It's funny how you've got no concept of space, right? Like I imported some magazines from China once and it was 5,000 units. And I thought, oh, it'd be a few boxes, right? These 2 pallets show up, like a semi-truck and a forklift and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Well, that's not going to fit in the storage cupboard.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay. This is exciting.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm hoping Dad just provides some room in the garage was my original thought.
Yeah. Might need a bit more.
Might need a little bit more space.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
even think it would fit in our backyard.
Yes.
I've done it before, though, with Dad. And in high school, I imported resistant bands just as a little side hustle.
Yeah.
And I ordered 1,000 sets, which set me back my whole savings up until the point of being 16 years old, which actually wasn't that much. And then all of a sudden, 10 massive boxes rocked up at the front door. So we've still got half of those boxes sitting in our spare bedroom.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, Dad.
It's part of the entrepreneurial journey, right?
Oh, it is.
As winning or learning, as I say.
Try out different things.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So what are the options on the PledgeMe campaign?
So it starts as little as $5. That's just a basic donation if anyone just wants to support.
That's awesome though, right? I love that concept of just setting that bar so low. Like, $5 is almost like the 10 year ago 20 cents, right? Like $5 doesn't get you much, right?
Yeah. So just like I've got some friends that are like, I don't really have the need, or like my old flat, they don't all need to purchase a separate board game, and I don't expect them to.
No.
But
throw a fiver.
They'll slap a fiver on it. Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And then going up from that, we've got a hat, which is actually kind of in collaboration with a New Zealand surf brand called Shaggy.
Oh, cool.
So that's up $45, and it's just a hat with a kind of like retrified fat cat on the front of it, and it's kind of a cool style. My one thing when they said we've got to do a merch tier, I was like, I'm not doing another t-shirt that I just wear as pajamas. I've got too many of those that you collect. No offense to anyone that's put out t-shirts, but they're probably my pajama top at the moment.
Yeah.
And I wanted something that I knew my audience that I currently had were people around my age and not really the target market for the game. So I thought, how can I leverage the audience that I do have just on my personal Instagram and that sort of thing, TikTok, Facebook, and thought I'll put out a hat that they're actually going to want to buy, and approached a company that I know they buy from.
Yeah, nice.
So we got that tier, and then the one above that, the game. You buy 1 game, 2 game, 3 game. We say the 3 game is like for the home, the batch, and a Christmas present.
Nice.
So you may as well get it all out of the way by purchasing 1 tier. And then it goes on to getting your name on the board.
Oh, wow.
Or your business and logo. So we've got 4 industries you can choose from. And that's kind of been the real kind of grunt behind the campaign at the moment, is approaching businesses to get a spot in like the tech industry, ag, health, energy.
Gotcha.
It gets their logo on it, and it gives them a little personal blurb of like our innovation, increase the market,
right,
such as that. So we've got those tiers, and then the final one is we're looking for a sponsor to sponsor like a future of investing event. So just having it free for families, students, anyone like that, and really putting on a good, decent event that just simplifies things that you should be talking about, say as young as 10, and just to have in the back of your mind, and also just key tips from keynote speakers, that sort of thing. So a big range of tiers. I mean, it ranges from $5 to $5,000.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get fit a large scale of budgets. That's what we're aiming to do.
Can people make a custom donation as well?
Yes, yeah. So on PledgeMe, with any tier, you can choose any amount. So the tiers that we set for the rewards, so the game it retails for $74.99 or $75. That includes shipping. When you click on that reward to go buy, it will give you the option to add amounts onto it. Same with the $5, you can donate any amount. But we set the minimums, and then if people are feeling super generous, there's nothing stopping them from adding a few more dollars or whatever it might be. The game does retail, like, exclusive for shipping, $75. So during the Pledge Me, I'm covering all the shipping costs. So like if someone did want to add on $10 to cover the shipping, to give us more of a runway, then more than welcome to.
Yeah,
but for us, we want to offer those discounts, try to persuade people to
make
actually,
it easy.
absolutely reduce those barriers.
And what was the custom option, sorry? The ability for businesses to be branded on the board?
Yes, yeah. So businesses, if they fit into tech, agriculture, health, or energy industry, there's 3 spots available. We've only got 1 left in technology now, but they can purchase $1,750, and it gets them their business name, logo, and a small blurb of why they're great, essentially. Pretty unique marketing opportunity for a lot of companies. In the marketing scheme of things, not a huge amount, but it goes a massive way to getting to our $40,000 goal. The way Pledge Me works, if you don't hit your $40,000, which is our goal, you don't get any of it. This is like the push of we either get there. I mean, I'll come up with a plan B and plan C for sure, but all effort's been put into this Pledge Me campaign.
Yeah.
So that's why we've brought in the business aspect of it to kind of give those higher amounts so that we're not relying on individuals as much to pre-order it, which is still great and it validates the idea.
Yeah.
But if we get enough businesses, that's about 50% of our Pledge Me covered.
Yeah.
Just by selling spots on the board.
Yeah, right. What a great investment that would be, seemingly.
Yes.
Because that's going to be, so is that going to be on the board in perpetuity?
So if 10,000 copies sold.
Right.
Which is a while when you're considering our first order is 1,750.
Yeah. Totally.
So first 10,000 copies we're promising, with the opportunity to renew.
Yeah.
But yeah, it essentially allows them to be on the game board in front of 10,000 families across, whether that's just New Zealand or Australia as well, starting with just New Zealand, and gets them to be a bit more of a household name. Also just gets them, it's a good support for small New Zealand companies, for small New Zealand companies starting up, but allows them to kind of give like a 5-word of why they're great, compared to their competitors as well.
Yeah. Amazing. I love that. That's a cool option.
Yeah. No, I was pretty stoked when we could have that as an option. Had to make sure that time frames with our manufacturing of changing everything was going to work, but we've managed to be able to do it. Yeah,
that's a cool model. I love how you took an idea that was originally going to be a tech idea, an app. Like a lot of people want to go down that road, right? Which is notoriously expensive, difficult, time-consuming, over budget, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then just DIY'd it.
Yeah, why not?
Went offline. Yeah, it's good.
I think it was definitely, I struggled at the start with it because I was only surrounded in people that were doing these big tech innovations, and then I was going to all these events or going in accelerator programs, and I never wanted to be the one to say, I'm the founder of a board game, because people say to me, I created a board game in primary school, or like, that's a cool project you're working on.
Right. And
it's always been like this thing of it not doing tech it's like made me less confident to share what I do in certain spaces, especially when you're just surrounded in all this tech innovation. So it's taken a while to become confident with being like, yeah, actually this is what I've put all my time and effort into. And I mean, it started with my scribbles on paper, don't get me wrong, but now it is a legitimate product that we want to make a real business out of, and we want to scale this. There's still scale space in a product business. Sure, it can be less quick and it's harder, but like we've got the world to cover.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's a really wholesome idea as well, right?
Yeah,
like it's really ticking several boxes from getting people away from tech, which is great in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, like I think
100%.
we can all relate to that.
Yeah, as a parent, I'm sure you see how much kids are on their phone.
Totally.
And just even families, parents are appreciating the fact that it's able to bring their family around the dinner table, around the table and play something together. And then it leads to what our big purpose behind it is to just spark more conversations and curiosity around the subject. As soon as you bring a family together doing that, rather than separate on their phones doing a learning app, it creates this conversation, and that's when you really start learning about things.
Yeah.
Or you gain that curiosity to go off and to start learning.
Yeah.
We don't aim to teach or to learn through the game. It'd be hard to do, to create, mastermind investors through a board game.
Yeah.
But the one thing is that we just want to introduce them to the topic so it's in their back of their head, and then all of a sudden it's something they're more comfortable to then continue their journey into investing, into learning about investing.
Yeah. No, I love it. I mean, not too dissimilar to other board games like Monopoly, right?
Exactly.
Like it's not about teaching exactly how to invest in real estate.
No.
Conceptually, big picture, it teaches you how to navigate options and tolerate risk and to yield return, right?
Yeah.
And so,
like you don't sit down to play a game of Monopoly and think, I'm going to become the best, like, I don't know, real estate agent or whatever
it's not about
play.
that, is it? No.
But it's, you play the game and it's competitive, it's fun, you play with your family, your friends. You also learn that the more you invest in property, the more likely you are at winning the game.
Yeah.
The quicker you invest in the property, the more likely you're able to take all the money from your friends also playing. So it's like, you may not realize that you learned things from Monopoly, but it's still there of how it's changing your perception around how you can make money. So there's no reason why there shouldn't be a same sort of game aspect, but for the share market. So yeah, our high level is Monopoly, but for the share market. It's not the same gameplay. I like to think it's quite different. It's definitely still as competitive, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, you sit down, you play a fun family game, and at the same time you might pick up a few things that I'm sure a lot of children, when they play, won't actually realise that you can implement that into real life investing. But that's when that conversation piece comes around of, hey, you know how you just won that game? Well, you could actually do that for long-term investing in real life. You diversified, you saw what market events were coming up, or not saw what you took what market events were happening and you made decisions based on that, and you bought shares low and you sold them high.
Yeah.
Like these key things that are just game strategy become real life strategy as well. And that was the main concept of the game, of it's not about sitting a child down and saying, right, we are learning today. It's sparking that curiosity in a way that is natural for them, and they're introduced to it in a fun way, more likely to continue learning.
Love it.
Yeah.
So good. How long's the anticipated or approximate length of game?
So we have, that's another aspect of the game that I wanted to make unique. We have 4 different goal cards that you can choose to play at the start of each game. So it's 2 short-term investing goal cards, 2 long-term investing goal cards. One that is the same in real life. You choose if you're investing for the short term or the long term, but also it determines if you're having a short game or you're having a long game.
Right.
So game ranges, time ranges can be between 30 minutes to, like a Monopoly, anytime someone wins and everyone else is out,
Still
essentially.
going. Yeah.
So that could be, say, 2 hours, but that's up to the people playing to decide how long they want to play for. And hopefully it will also show different strategies that you use based on short-term, long-term.
Yeah, I guess it's representative of real life, right? Like there's no real end game. Yeah,
No.
it's an infinite game, isn't it?
Yeah. So like short-term goal card, for example, would say investing for a house. And then the long-term is become the richest when you retire. And that is a continuous game until someone calls they're the richest after 3 laps. And if they are, they've won. If they're not, they're out.
Yeah, how good. On the PledgeMe campaign or on the online, is there any way to see the game, like pieces and what it looks like? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So in our campaign video, we've got a family playing the game. You can kind of see a little bit how it works. It's mainly just B-roll footage.
Yeah.
But we've also got product images in there as well of all the different pieces. So the most unique feature is the market price slider, which is our different industries, and every time someone buys or sells shares or any time a market event happens, those market price sliders move and change the value of those industries, which changes your portfolio value.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow. So how far in? You're 3 days, 4 days in as of recording?
Yes.
Yeah.
As of recording, we are just under 3 days in.
Yeah.
We're about 20% of the way through our goal. So we're getting there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's been tougher than... I think I set myself very high expectations, as people do. It's been tougher to get people to convert their, I'll pledge into a pledge.
Actual pledge, yeah.
And I'm aware that $75 sits at the higher range of board games as well. So it takes a little bit more convincing. But now it's just really trying to convert people to buy the game.
Yeah, I guess if you can frame it in a way that it's like, hey, just consider the $5 donation, right?
100%.
And then while you're on there, it's like, okay, maybe I will buy a hat.
You may as well.
I do have a business. Maybe that one spot is appealing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, at the moment we've been focused on kind of mass outreach and trying to get into PR media and then just groups where I can get it in front of as many people as possible.
Yeah.
But now that effort's going to start turning into individual, contacting individuals, more of like a direct, hey, have you done it yet?
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be pushy and make people spend their money.
No.
But I'm trying.
Yeah, fine line, right?
There is, absolutely.
What was involved in getting the PledgeMe campaign launched? Was that a lot of work, like with the marketing and content and...
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest issue that we had, and people that had been following along kind of the journey and everything, there was a lot of timeline setbacks based on just getting our sample manufactured. Because of a lot of it is completely made from scratch, we've had to create our own templates for things. It just took our manufacturers a lot longer to do it, which isn't on them at all. It's kind of like that thing, I should have taken my timeline and tripled it. I didn't listen to that.
No.
I was like, right, here's our timeline, and I'm going to shorten it because I'm going to put the pressure on everyone.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. So I think we originally were going to launch our PledgeMe 30th of May. Now sitting here, the 12th of July, and we've launched 3 days ago. But once we got our sample, so we received it about a month and a half ago now, it was just big push for content, videos. The team at Anthony and Mates did an awesome job at creating our campaign video, and then also just huge amount of written content. It felt like I was back in uni just doing assignment after assignment, but this time I was actually enjoying it because it was on something I was very passionate about. But it was just writing up all different like press release about us, what was going to be on the PledgeMe, what was going to be in our like marketing plan, everything. So it was, and we already had a lot of that beforehand, but almost every day we trialed it, or every day I talked to someone, almost the wording changed, so then I have to go back and rewrite things. So I felt like I was just in front of my laptop writing on Canva and Word docs for a good month there straight. And then trying to just build a community as well. But it's hard to do when we didn't have that final product. So people do still see it as an idea, and it's kind of like that, oh yeah, I'll support you. It's really hard to get that like locked in as I'll
Payment.
spend money. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now it's reaching back out to those people and being like, hey, it's more than an idea now.
Yes.
It's a game ready for retail shelves and to be in households. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to buy one?
You want to buy one? Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah. So, but mainly it was just planning how we're going to get the word out there.
Yeah.
How are we going to get that widespread reach? And New Zealand's a small place. Like at the moment, most of our lucks come from people knowing people like Clive knowing you, for example.
Yeah, totally.
And they say that all the time, like it's who you know, right? So
totally.
That's what it's been. It's who's in our network already, who can we reach out to and really start getting the word out. Otherwise, that 40K it's going to be a big push.
Big push, yeah. Sorry, what was the deadline on it?
2nd of August.
August 2nd, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess it just takes one big one-to-many type person, organisation, brand to push it out, right? And that could easily be hit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at the moment, I'm just working on the concept of if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah,
and
great call.
I mean, I'm just
Just
hit
get
it
out
up
there.
anyone.
Yeah, totally.
Message 7 days saying if I beat them to a push-up competition, can I go on the show? Why not? Just whatever, really. But yeah, media's been a big one for us, and trying to frame it as I'm not just trying to advertise my product. Like I want to tell a story here.
Yeah, totally.
Which is sometimes hard to get across, especially when you can't even get a phone call. But just keep pushing.
Yeah, I guess that's the cool thing about the podcast medium, right? Is that it's a bit more accessible than, say, traditional media.
100%. And it's things like this that mean the world in like the early stages as well. And it's anything that you can get in those early stages, you go for it, and but whatever pops up, that you've got to be in the position to just go for it as well. But
totally.
Things like this, massive help in spreading the word.
Yeah. Have you at the risk of putting something out there on the podcast, because this doesn't get edited, right? There's nothing cut out. Have you come across Keep the Change? The Keep the Change community?
No.
The guy Luke Kimmies, who's my accountant, he's got a couple of different things going on, but Keep the Change is a podcast. So they've reached, I think they've just ticked over 1 million downloads.
Wow.
One or two more than this one, but
You're not far off.
I'm out there. I'm out there trying, right?
Absolutely, that's all that matters.
But
you'll get there.
But that would be the perfect crossover, right?
Yeah, 100%.
People that are interested in financial literacy. I'll just do an intro.
Oh, that would be amazing. Thank you. See, just like that.
Yeah. I just thought it'd be the perfect match, right?
I really appreciate that.
So there you
that's
go.
Awesome.
If you're listening, Luke.
Oh, there you go.
Get ready.
You just need a deal done live.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I just like making things happen.
Oh, awesome.
And connecting
I appreciate that.
people that are doing things and actually taking action and putting themselves out there. Like, it's not always easy because there is the risk of rejection, and
you got to get used to it.
Totally. I think so, right?
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I just love to support something like this, and like it's just great. It's awesome.
No,
yeah.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Cool.
I was very excited when Clive said, "Oh, I might have you on a podcast." I was like, "No way."
Well, it's just funny because he was on the podcast in I think around the 70-ish episode range, and we've kept in touch loosely online, and so when he replied to one of my newsletters, I was just like, totally,
that's awesome.
let's just move it up from a chat to let's just do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Because then that way it's just at scale.
Oh, no, it was awesome. Thank you.
And so if someone's listening to this before August 2nd, and you can go on to the PledgeMe that we'll link in the description, that would be one method, and we'll put the website as well.
Yes.
What is the website?
Just www.shenanigans.co.nz.
.nz, yeah. And it's not from the Super Troopers reference.
No, we talked about this earlier. Yeah.
I can't believe that. I'm still confused.
I'm going to have to go watch it. What is it? Super Troopers.
Super Troopers, yeah.
All right.
It was probably early 2000s, so it's probably getting on a bit now, but yeah, hilarious movie.
I'm going to have to give it a
It's
watch.
an absolute classic.
Maybe it's part of our marketing.
It should be. Yeah, totally.
There you go.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, it was so good chatting.
No, yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you.
Put those links below, and I love it. Keep up the hustle.
Thank you. Yes.
Perfect.
Gotta do it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you back in the next one. Before we get into the episode, I just want to say a big thanks to my mate Andrew here at Airwolf Forest Motor Company for supporting the episode and the podcast.
We specialise in high-performance British, American and European cars. As a listener and a supporter of David Mel's podcast, I'd invite any listeners to get in touch, have a look at our website, www.efmc.co.nz. Come and see what we've got out here and we'll take care of you.